Forbidden Meanings, Episode 5, Occult. The word drips with danger. Whisper occult, and you summon images of pentagrams, black candles, cloaked figures, and forbidden books chained in dusty basements. It is the vocabulary of horror films, of conspiracy theories, of hushed warnings from pulpits. Occult. The very word itself feels like a doorway into darkness. But what if I told you this word was never meant to mean evil? What if its true meaning was not demonic but simple, hidden? Because the forbidden truth is this: occult literally means what is concealed, and the story of how hiddenness became horror reveals not only the corruption of language, but also a clue to how power itself works. The root of hiddenness. The word comes from the Latin occultus, meaning hidden, concealed, secret. Doctors in the Middle Ages used it to describe medical conditions they could not explain. Occult diseases. Astronomers used it to describe when one celestial body passed in front of another, an occultation. It was never sinister, it was descriptive. Occult simply meant unseen. To speak of the occult was to speak of the mysteries of nature, the secrets of the heavens, the hidden forces shaping the world. But as time passed, that which was hidden became dangerous, and the word itself was transformed. The demonization. When the church rose to dominance, control of knowledge became central. Anything hidden outside their doctrines was suspect. Astrology, alchemy, herbalism, mysticism all became tainted with the brush of the forbidden. What was once the occult sciences of the Renaissance, mathematics, astronomy, natural philosophy, were rebranded as dark arts if they strayed too far from the sanctioned path. By the 17th century, the word occult had shifted. No longer neutral, it was now synonymous with sorcery, devilry, and forbidden rites. To study the hidden was to consort with shadows, and so the occult became a word of fear. Hidden knowledge versus forbidden knowledge. But here has the twist. The occult was never about summoning demons. It was about seeking truth that was concealed. Alchemy, for example, was not only about turning lead into gold, it was about transformation of matter and of the soul. Astrology was not only about predicting fate, but about seeing the hidden patterns of the heavens. Herbalism was not only about potions, but about unlocking the hidden powers of plants. These were all labeled occult, not because they were evil, but because they were hidden from common sight. And who decided they should stay hidden? Those in power, because hidden knowledge is dangerous. If you understand the patterns of the stars, you don't need priests to tell you your fate. If you know how to heal with plants, you don't need the sanctioned physician. If you study transformation of matter, you might also transform the social order. And so hidden became forbidden. Occult became evil. A scene of secrets. Imagine a dim library in 1500s Europe. Candles burn low. A man in scholar's robes bends over a manuscript, sketching diagrams of planetary orbits. On the cover, the word occulta. His eyes widen as he traces a pattern that suggests the Earth itself moves around the sun. To him, this is revelation. To the church, it is heresy. His work is seized. He is branded dangerous. His study of the hidden, the occult, becomes crime. The pattern repeats. The more knowledge threatens the powers of the age, the more the word occult is weaponized against it. The modern mask today. Occult is shorthand for black magic, satanic rituals, Hollywood horror. Entire industries trade on the fear of it. The moment someone says occult, minds rush to demons and curses. But beneath the mask, the true meaning still waits. Hidden, concealed, secret. Occult is not necessarily evil, it is simply unseen. That doesn't mean it's harmless. Hidden things can heal or harm. But calling everything occult evil is like calling every shadow a monster. Sometimes the shadows simply conceal what you aren't ready to see. Occult in the spiritual sense. There is also a deeper thread here. Occult is not only about hidden knowledge in books or rituals, it's about the hidden dimension of existence itself. Every culture has spoken of it. The unseen forces that shape our lives. Call it spirit, energy, vibration, or will. The occult is simply the acknowledgement that not all truth is visible, that some power lies beneath the surface. To fear the occult is to fear what you cannot see. To respect the occult is to admit that reality is deeper than appearances, and maybe that is why the word was twisted. Because if people remembered that occult simply means hidden, they might go looking for what has been concealed, and they might find truths that topple the illusions of the powerful. Modern meaning versus true meaning. So let's compare. Modern meaning: occult, evil, dark magic, dangerous rituals. True meaning: occult, hidden, concealed, unseen forces. The corruption is clear. The fear was manufactured. But the root remains. The occult is not darkness, it is mystery. And what you do with mystery defines whether it becomes your prison or your power. So the next time you hear occult, don't think only of demons. Think of what's hidden. Think of what has been concealed, waiting in the shadows. Forbidden not because it was evil, but because it was powerful. Because next time, we're diving into another word that has been stripped of its original power. A word that once meant priestly wisdom, but now means parlor tricks. The word is magic.